Hello to everyone, happy Sunday! I'm recording this in Georgia, but by the time you see this, I'll have gone back to the UK for my monthly trip, see my boyfriend, hang out with my cats. So it's been a hot minute since I did one of these style of videos, but I'm really excited to go back to my frequently asked questions. I've been getting a ton of really good questions and over quite a wide variety of topics. So I thought rather than doing a single video, I would do quite a few different questions and cover them all. So I've got them written down in my book. I'm excited to answer them. Okay, let's go ahead and dive right in. Question 1, should you use a pen name on Medium? This was actually sent in by both Bob and Jennifer, so thank you to those people for sending it in. My answer is yes, you should use a pen name on Medium. I don't know if you all know this, but I actually use a pen name on Medium. Zuli Rain is not my real name. Why should you use a pen name on Medium? In my experience, somebody Googled my name and they found this blog post I'd written about my cats, and it was my boss who found that, and I was like, I don't want my boss reading my cat blog posts, you know, like a mixture of two worlds I was not super into. But why should you do it? Because it's gonna let you be more emotional, more vulnerable, more honest. Those are the 3 tendencies that are really gonna help you do well on Medium. So, reasons you might not wanna have a pen name. Do you have an existing audience already that associates you with your real name? Then don't, because you're going to be throwing that whole audience away. Other reasons why not: maybe you're a professional, maybe you have a degree, some kind of qualification tied to your real name that for whatever reason is going to make you a better story writer. So for example, if you look at a lot of the editors of 10, Forge, they have degrees, they have experience tied to their real names that make them more likely to be published in those stories, in those publications. How do you do it? Well, you can create a whole new identity, like a whole new account. You might not want to do this if you already have access to a lot of publications and you don't want to go through the whole hassle process of doing it again. You can, and this is what I did, you can just go into your Medium profile, change your name, change your username, and change your email address. I actually set up a whole new Gmail account just for my pen name. It was super easy. It took me maybe like 10 or 15 minutes, and all my stories were retroactively changed to be under my new pen name. So that's why you should do it. That's how you should do it. And honestly, I recommend it to everyone who doesn't have an audience or doesn't have any qualifications tied to their real name. It's worked really well for me, and I think it's great for everyone. All right, on to the next question. So this one isn't a question. It's actually a tip sent in by one of my subscribers, Jason. Thank you much for sending this in, Jason. A few people have asked me in the past, should I import my old articles into Medium from WordPress? I used to say yes, now I'm gonna say no if you wanna be really successful on Medium. The reason for it is this: if you're new on Medium, it's hard to get curated. It is hard. You're automatic, I think you have like a 5 to 10 story window to impress the curators. If they don't like what they're seeing, they're gonna put you on a curation blacklist. Not a blacklist, but it basically says we couldn't review your story because there was too much volume. This sucks for you as a writer because it's hard to get off that. The reason I bring up importing old posts is because there's an age limit associated with curation, which is what Jason told me. I didn't know this. If you import old stories that are too old to be curated, Medium's gonna automatically disqualify them and potentially put you on this volume list that makes it insanely hard to get back on that curation list. Curation is important. I wish it weren't. I wish, everyone got curated or whatever, but unfortunately it is super important. And if you're thinking about getting started on Medium and you want to import old articles, I would have a serious think about whether it's worth it, whether you might want to delete your old ones or write entirely new ones. So, up to you. Okay, let's talk about curation. I mentioned this in the last tip about that curation is super important. Curation is going to help your story go far. Many people have talked about how important curation is and how to be curated. I wanted to specifically talk about a question that I've seen coming in a lot, which is, if you're not being curated, what can you do? I'm not talking about if curators have looked at your story and decided not to curate it. There's a lot of advice out there for that already, and I don't think I have anything constructive to add to that. I'm talking about if you're writing stories and they're not even being submitted to curation. This happens if you're a newer author, or if for whatever reason, like 5 or 10 or 15 of your first stories didn't get curated. Curators stop looking at your stories and you get a message that says there's too high volume for curators to review. Makes sense because they've got a lot of stuff to review, but if you're one of those people, it sucks because there's nothing you can do. But there are some things you can do, and I want to just talk about a few of them because I've had this specific question come in from so many new writers who are coming across this stumbling block. 1, start a new profile. I've heard that some people actually have success with this. They start a new profile, they take all that they've learned, and they just start writing new articles. You can even copy and paste the exact same articles from your old profile that weren't looked at and see if you can get them curated in the new one. Pros, you might get curated. Downside, if you've put any effort into getting accepted to publications, you're gonna have to start all over, and that's a pain. 2, email yourfriends@medium.com. This works sometimes it doesn't. I think more people are doing this now, so there's less of a good response, but it's worth doing. Just be like, hey, I think I'm writing good stories. I've been writing X number of stories, 20, 30, 40, whatever. All of my stories haven't been looked at due to volume. Can you suggest anything I can do to get my stories reviewed again? I would love anything, let me know. And make sure that your 3 or 5 latest stories follow the curation guidelines down to the letter, no exceptions, because they're looking for any excuse not to have to look at that because they're so overworked, is my theory. 3rd, get a friend to send in a tip, tips@medium.com or yourfriends@medium.com. Hey, I read this story, I think it's really great, and I just wanted to pass it on to you as a tip. That's all the email has to say, link to that story. You can even have like a kind of quid pro quo situation going where you sent one of theirs, they sent in one of yours, something like that, just to kind of bring your stories to their attention again. Once you get that first one in, you're good, you're golden, you just have to get your foot in the door. Last but not least, there are some publications which guarantee curation. I know of at least 2, PS I Love You and Better Marketing, but I think there are going to be more and more as the publications grow. So for example, I think the Postgrad Survival Guide has been really, really successful lately. That might be one that has this curation power. What I'm talking about is the editors of those publications have the power to manually curate. So as an example, sometimes I'll write something and I'll publish it to Better Marketing, which is one of my all-time favorite pubs, and it won't get curated, or it'll get curated in one topic. Then a few hours later, I see that it's gotten curated in 3 additional topics. That's because those editors are manually choosing topics to curate stories in. I think this has to do with an agreement that they have with Medium, so they're not quite as big as like Forge, 10, but they're still really powerful. If you can get into those publications, you're gonna get curated. It's that simple. And I'm not sure that PS I Love You is accepting new authors at the moment, but I think Better Marketing is. Do your best to get into those publications and try to get some curation, because those are great pubs and I've had some really great successes with those. That is all for today. I hope that you all enjoyed these tips. If you've got any questions, send them in. I love answering them. I love helping you all out. And I just like to think about what problems you have and how I can help solve them. So have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you all next Sunday. Bye.